Hey, what's up, Facebook? Welcome to My Life Monday with Mike, your mentor. Appreciate you checking out this live broadcast. If you're watching live, you can hashtag live. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. So, welcome. If you're new to this page, the whole genesis behind this page was just a calling that I've had on my life for a long time that I basically ran away from for a long time, but probably about a good 3 years until one day it just hit me when Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain committed suicide, and something inside my heart was like, all right, enough is enough, and what can I do about this, right? What small part can I play in people's lives so that the people that I know um, and the people that I come in contact with uh, don't succumb to suicide, right? And God put this idea in my heart to do Mike the Mentor, or He reminded me of that idea He gave me, and finally, that was what I needed to take action, is to see that happen, sad as it was, and start to share my own experience with going through hard times, and my own personal experience with losing a brother to suicide, and for 37 years, well, not quite 37 years, but for a long time I've been extremely quiet. I prefer to stay in the background, unless I'm called upon. I don't have a problem speaking, but it's rare up until this year that I've just I guess forced myself to be more forthcoming and more present, especially on something like social media, with just sharing my story and my experience, and how I dealt with all these crazy things that happened in my life, and the importance of setting up in your own life a structure that can help you navigate those hard times, because it's not a matter of if you're going to experience setbacks or hard times in your life. It's just simply a matter of when, because that's the way life works for whatever reason. And if you don't take the time to surround yourself with the right people, right people that will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear, and have other certain practices and pillars in your life, when those hard times come, people get wrecked, and sometimes they can't bounce back from that because they get stuck looking through a keyhole, and they get tunnel vision, and they can't see all the things outside of that, all the wonderful opportunity that life presents them. And I know what that's like, because for a little bit I was kind of stuck in tunnel vision. We were living in Chicago, and I just come out of telling my wife a partial truth about something that I had hid from her. Um, and I didn't know if I wanted to be married anymore, didn't know who I was really, struggled with my identity, just struggling with a lot of things in my life, and I needed help, and I thank God that there was some intervention, and I got plugged into a group of guys, and that were just real, and we all helped each other be accountable, and we went through a program that I talk about on Friday nights, and that was kind of this catalyst of me discovering what it looks like to be a man and to face a lot of things that I had ran away from in my past, that I needed to deal with in order to, one, grow up, two, well, grow up and mature. I guess it's kind of the same thing, but three, step into the person that I was created to be, and start to go on this journey to find out what that looked like. And this is part of that journey, right? And so now I'm taking this wisdom that I've gleaned, not only in my teenage years and my 20s, but also in my 30s, that's been sown into me, and I'm sharing it with other people, my core audience being men, because we have a higher calling on our lives as fathers, as husbands, as leaders in our community, and we haven't answered it. And that's why crazy stuff like mass shootings happen, and all this confusion that is out in the world. Uh, and as men, we have not stewarded these responsibilities appropriately. And we've gotten so far away from these things that men are left to wander aimlessly and try to figure these things out on their own. And they cause nothing but destruction, pain, and hurt along the way as they try to figure this out. So that's what this page is about in a nutshell. So I appreciate you turning in or tuning in. So My Life Monday is just me sharing some things maybe that made a difference in my life the previous week that I think might bring value to you, and just for me to be a little bit more open about who I am, what I'm dealing with in my life, and maybe what's making a difference. So this past week, a couple of things. So the first thing was, I have a multitude of mentors in my life. I think that every person should not only have a mentor, but they should be a mentor, because there's things that you've been through that people coming up behind you could benefit from. And I have the decade rule, right? So if you're going to be a mentor, find somebody who's a decade younger than you, and they're in that season of life, and sow into them, share your experiences, and give them a heads up as to what they might experience in the decade coming up. And then if you're looking for a mentor, find somebody who's in that next phase of life that's a decade older than you, that can help you guide and navigate that time, that season of life before you step into it, right? So you can be prepared for what lies ahead. And then I have mentors in my business life. So one of my business mentors was challenging me to think about my time and where that time is going, and to be extremely, what would be the word? Extremely diligent, extremely aware of where my time is going and tracking and measuring that, so I can get a baseline idea of how I'm spending my time, so that it can be measured and observed effectively. So I'll give you I'll share what he shared with me, right? So you have 168 hours in a week. So why is it that some people get so little done and some people get so much done when we all have the same amount of time? And one of the main differences is because the people who get a lot done, they hold themselves accountable to where their time is going. So he encouraged me to break that down. And if you back out time for sleeping, and me, I seem to function best anywhere between 6 to 8 hours. So I kind of split that down the middle. So that's 7 hours. So that's 49 hours. So that leaves me with 119 hours of time left to divide between work, to divide between family, and then to divide between miscellaneous activities. So chores around the house. I know I like cooking for my family, so cooking, leisure activities, like I like to work out, reading. Maybe for you it includes watching TV. So the goal over the next couple of weeks is to really be accountable to myself about where that time is going and measuring those things, so that I can start to optimize where my time is going. Because there's a saying, and I think it goes, what isn't measured, I don't know. I probably have to Google it. I was going somewhere good with that, but never mind. I'll look it up and tell you later. But the main point is to track your time so you know where it's going. Just like they say to track your money, so you know where that's going and where the waste is, right? Because I'm all about trying to be efficient. We only get one life, and time is the most precious commodity we have. and I'm guilty of wasting that, right? And I don't want to do that no more moving forward. So the second thing in my life this week is if you're local, tomorrow I'm speaking at the men's morning breakfast at Res Life Church in Granville. And the title of my talk is "Where Are All the Real Men At?" And I'll just be sharing um, a couple examples from the Bible, and then I'll be sharing kind of what's been going on in my life and how me being obedient to doing this Mike the Mentor thing has opened up all these opportunities to share into or to sow into a lot of people's lives across the world, and how when we step in obedience into our calling and what we're called to, the effect that can have on society and on the world. And I'm guilty of this too, right? Like, so part of this is some work that I've been doing in India, and my partner over there has been telling me that God is telling him that I'm going to be going to India in November. Now, when and the funny thing is he's probably been telling me this for, I don't know, 3 months. But even before he said that, someone else told me that probably 5 months ago, spoke that into my life. And I just kind of was like, okay, yeah, cool, if it happens, whatever. And I brushed it off. But I didn't think back on that until today when I was talking to my wife about this. And I connected those dots, right? So when my partner in India was telling me this, even when he started telling me this, I was like, okay, yeah, all right, if it happens, it happens. Um, but it's important even for my growth to come into agreement with that. So I'm just, saying, all right, God, if this is what you want me to do and this is what it's going to look like, then, I don't know how it's going to get done. So you make the way, and just trusting Him to do that. So it's a little scary, it's a little exciting. So we'll see where that goes, and how that shakes out. So people think I have a lot of faith, but at times, even my faith is being stretched each and every day. And then finally, I just say for my life, just getting back to being physical. I haven't been doing a very good job of being consistent in the gym. Um, and you either do or you don't know. So I played college basketball, and I was obsessed with basketball for a long time. And over the last year or so, I don't have the same love. I don't have the same passion for it. That was dwindling, and I'm not really sure why. But it was interesting enough. I played in my first Gus Macker. That's a 3-on-3 basketball tournament this past weekend. Um, and I hadn't played one in probably 5 years. I think is the last one I played in. It's been a long time, but it was fun, to do that with some guys that I never played with before, and just to get a little bit of that passion back and that little bit of competitiveness going in my life. And the reason that was important for me is because um, I haven't been being very competitive in my life lately, and not that that's necessarily a bad thing, because it can be an obsession for some people. But when you're not challenging yourself, and you're not having some, I guess, ambition in your life, that's not good. It's not good for your growth. I say all that to say that it was good to start to ignite some of that fire, and I'm excited to see that carry over into other areas of my life. So I don't know. I don't want to downplay the things that I just shared with you, but yeah, that's what's going on in my life. If you got anything special, or you need prayer for anything, that you got going on in your life, shoot me a private message if you're brave enough. Put it below in the comments, and I'd love to agree with you on that, and to lift you up. Oh, and another thing that happened that I was super pumped about is a friend of mine slash client heard some huge news today about something that they've been pursuing for a long time, and it looks like all that grinding, uh, all the ups and downs, everything that they've been going through to make this happen is going to pay off for them. So it was awesome just celebrating that news with them today. And that encouraged me and gave me hope, just to continue along my own path with what I'm pursuing, and not to give up despite maybe the insurmountable odds, or whatever you're facing, or whatever walls you got to run through to get to that. So that's it for My Life Monday. Like I said, if you need anything, reach out. Otherwise, love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow for Tuesday Thoughts. Have a good night.